What's up, guys? All the Beans Racing here, and I'm super excited to share with you guys a new purchase that we made yesterday. Um, it is something we've been wanting for a while now. It's something that we've been needing, and it's gonna make our lives a lot easier. And yeah, we're just super excited to have it. And I'm gonna show it to you guys, but before I do, I just wanted to tell you guys why I'm so excited to have it, but more importantly, why I'm so excited to be able to use it. So, let's see, about 10 or 15 years ago, I started suffering from chronic back pain. It sucked. I went to my doctors. I told her, I'm having lower back pain and my legs going numb. And is it a blood clot or what's going on? She said, no, silly, it's just sciatica. And I said, okay, cool. She said, you can do these exercises and it will fix it. And I said, that sounds pretty good. So I did all the little stretches and stuff that she told me I needed to do, and it did not help. So I went back and I said, hey, that didn't help. She said, okay, we'll do these ones. And I said, okay. So I went home and I started doing those for a month, and they didn't help. So I went back and I said, hey, that didn't help. And she said, cool. Why don't you take this medicine? And it was Celebrex. So I took that and it didn't help. And so I went back and I said, hey, that didn't help. And she said, here is some muscle relaxers. And I said, okay. So I took those at night and they were supposed to be able to help me sleep. So I'd wake up as a new person, and they did not. So I went back and I said, hey, that didn't work. And she said, okay. Um, I don't know what to tell you. And I said, cool, thanks. So at that point, I was a supervisor at a manufacturing plant. I was on my feet for like 12, 13 hours a day. I did a lot of heavy lifting, lots of climbing, lots of crouching, lots of everything. And it was just a really hard physical job. So I decided, you know what, let's get a job that's a bit easier. So I switched jobs to, I got my CDLs and I started driving a propane delivery truck. So I started delivering propane, and it was okay. Worked a lot of hours, but I was like being able to get up and down and in and out of the truck, which actually kind of helped things just because I wasn't staying in one position very long. And I did that for, I don't know, 4 years. And my back just continued to get worse. And it got to the point where I could barely stand or walk. And I came home one day and I was just in so much pain, like most days. And I told my wife, I said, man, I've got to switch jobs. I said, this is too much. It's hurting my back too bad. And she said, you know what? The school is switching from in-person schooling to online schooling. And she said, I really don't want to do that because it was for the boys. And she's like, I really am dreading that. And I said, okay. And she said, why don't you become a stay-at-home dad for a little bit, and I'll take on the role of working, and you teach the boys and do whatever side stuff you can, and I will get a job, and we'll just switch roles for a little bit. And I was like, you know what? Normally I'd say no, but the boys need a little extra help there, and getting used to that, and get myself a couple months, get myself back in order, and then we'll just have two incomes, which will be more race car stuff. So I was like, okay, let's do that. So I can tell you right off the bat that there are big, big double standards out there. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you are an absolute saint, and no one else could do the job like you. All praise goes to you. But if you are a stay-at-home dad, you are a worthless piece of garbage, no matter the circumstances. And luckily for me, my wife was super awesome. She wasn't like that, but I had some family members that were, and they knew of my circumstances, and they see me suffering, but it doesn't matter. And just random people were like that, and it took a huge toll on my mental health, actually. And I felt bad enough on my own, and I didn't really need people saying stupid stuff to me. So if you're one of them people, screw you. Generally, I really don't like you. So if you're subscribed to this channel and you feel that way, you should unsubscribe. But anyways, yeah. So I decided that while I was off, I'm gonna try everything I can to get better, because I wanted to get right back to work, and like I said, double income, more race car stuff. So and I would actually feel like doing it. So I went to my doctor and I said, listen, nothing you're doing is working out, so let's do something different. And she said, okay, let's do physical therapy. So I did physical therapy, and when I went to physical therapy, they said, yeah, after like 6 months, they said, this ain't helping. You really need an x-ray. Why ain't your doctor giving you an x-ray? And I said, I don't know. So I went back to my doctor, and she said, oh, well, insurance doesn't like to approve those. But I guess I'll try. And insurance immediately paid for it, by the way. And I got my x-ray, and it showed that I had a lot of stuff going on with my L4, L5. And I went back to physical therapy, and they're like, everything your doctor told you to do was wrong. Don't do that no more. And so, it's just making things worse. So I got mad at my doctor, and I switched doctors, and I got a much better doctor, and continued with physical therapy, and it didn't really help, and because I couldn't do a lot of it. And they said, okay, let's try sending you for an MRI to really see what's going on. So I got an MRI, and basically my L4 and L5 were messed up. I had pars defects, which is the pars is what basically stabilizes your spine, apparently. And mine had fractures, so it was allowing my spine to become unstable, and it was basically moving forward and creating spinal stenosis, which is narrowing of the spine, because it was slipping forward, getting pinched off right where my sciatic nerve ran through it. So that was why my back was hurting so bad, and also why I was having so much leg numbness. So if you ever saw it, like crisscross applesauce in the floor, or like Indian style, don't cancel me for that, then your leg went super numb, and when you stood up you couldn't hardly stand up. That's what my leg was doing. And it got so bad that I could only walk like 50 foot before that was happening. I could only stand for like a minute before that was happening. Like, it was so severe that my doctor prescribed me a walker, because I could only walk for like I said, 50 foot at a time, and I have to sit down, and I couldn't stand for very long. I could only sit for like 5 or 10 minutes, so I was just constantly up and down, up and down. I probably looked like a tweaker. But anyways, I ended up getting a mobility scooter. It was a lot. And so physical therapy said, with your back like that, we probably need to switch you to aqua therapy. So I did water therapy in their pool, and it helped a little bit. I built up a little bit of strength like that, but it wasn't like progressing very fast. And they said, well, we're probably at the end of being able to help you. So I went back to my doctor, and she said, let's get you into pain management. So I went to pain management, and they said, oh yeah, we can fix you right up. I said, I don't want no narcotics or anything like that. I said, just what can you do for me? And they said, we can do these injections, and they'll be the best thing you've ever had, and they'll fix you right up, blah, blah, blah. So I started getting back injections. They didn't really help. I told my doctor, I said, I had went to a chiropractor before, and they didn't really fix me, but he told me I had piriformis syndrome, and I said, I do feel like I have that. And he told me it was nonsense. And so we just kept going on with the plan until finally I said, is there any test or something you could do for that? And he said, yeah, but you don't have it. And he did the test, and I had it. So they started giving me injections in my piriformis muscle as well, and that did help some, but I was still not able to walk. So I told my doctor, I said, listen, nothing's helping. I need to see an actual specialist, somebody that knows what they're doing. And she said, yeah, I agree. Let's send you to a neurosurgeon. So I ended up getting an appointment with a neurosurgeon in St. Louis, and he looked at my x-ray for all of about 30 seconds, and he's like, dude, you need back surgery. He's like, pars defects ain't gonna fix itself. And I said, well, the doctors told me that I just need to lose weight, and it would pretty well fix itself. And he said, no. He said, losing weight will help. He said, building your core muscles up will help as well. But he said, at the end of the day, it's still unstable. But he said, you can help it some, but he said it's not going to fix it. Not completely. It'll get better. Maybe you can hold off surgery for a little bit. But he said, yeah. But he said, the good news is if you got to have back surgery, that is the back surgery to get. um, like that has the highest success rate out of all the surgeries he does. And he said, I only need to fuse the one level. So he's like, that's like the best circumstances that you can have under, my conditions. He said that's the one to have. So I was pretty excited about that. And he said, but they are right, you are overweight, which obviously I said, yeah, I know that. And he said, and we can't do the surgery safely until you lose some weight. And I said, story of my life. I said, I didn't realize I was overweight. I said, I put myself on diets. I said, it's just hard for me to stick to because I stress eat and I eat when I'm depressed. And, I can't really move. And it's just a lot. And, my diets just haven't been working because I fell at them. And he said, man, that's completely understandable. He's like, I want to throw an option out there for you. He said, how do you feel about weight loss surgery? And I said, the funny thing is I talked to my doctor about that once before, and she put me through to somebody in her network, and they sucked. I said, I tried calling them. They never answered. They'd call me back. They'd never have any answers. The only thing I got from them ever was copays. You need lots of copays. But they would never answer my questions about anything. And so finally, they called me, and I was asking questions. They said, you got to call back. And I said, listen, don't ever call me back again. You people should be shut down. You suck. And so I just gave up hope. But he said, listen, I have a buddy that does bariatric surgery. He said, why don't you meet with him? If you like him, good, progress, and go on from there. But if not, then you don't have to do it. He said, you can do it on your own. He's like, it might take longer, but he's like, you'll get there, man. He's like, I can tell that you're a trooper. And I said, well, thank you. And yeah, I'll try him. I said, but I don't have a lot of hope. And I went in with not having a lot of hope, but within 5 minutes of talking to this guy, Dr. Lang, New You Surgical Weight Loss Center, I was like, this guy's kind of cool. He's pretty nice. He's actually really nice. He's straight to the point. He made a lot of sense, and he's very confident, almost to the point of arrogance, but not quite. And I thought, you know what? If somebody's going to operate on me, it's going to be this dude. I just had a good feeling about him. So I said, dude, tell me what we need to do. Let's just get this done with. And he said, okay. He's like, if you want to get it done fast, we'll get it done fast. He's like, but it's going to take a lot of work from you. And I said, let's do it. So he gave me a bunch of things that I needed to do, a bunch of tests like EKGs and stuff like that. They had to run the scope down me to make sure that, I didn't have any weird stuff going on. And I did it as fast as I could. I scheduled appointments before I left his office. I was doing it in their driveway. And yeah, so 6 weeks after that day of meeting him, I was in surgery. That was in May of 2025. I got my surgery. I had the gastric bypass. And let me tell you guys, it's been 9 months. I had 2 weeks of liquid-only diet before surgery. I stuck to it, and it wasn't that hard because I trusted the process. If you don't trust the process, you're not ready. And you got to have full support of your team. So I stuck with the 2-week diet before, and altogether I had 2 weeks after of liquid only diet, and then I was able to eat blended up soup for 2 weeks, and then I could eat soup for 2 weeks. And so altogether it was 8 weeks of crappy foods, but in the end it was well worth it. It's been 9 months. It's now February of 2026, and I'm down 140 pounds. I built some muscle up. I've strengthened my core up, and he was right. It did not fix it, but it made it a little bit more manageable. I can walk on good days up to a quarter mile. On some bad days, I don't walk at all. But before, I couldn't make it from my bed to the mailbox, so that's a huge improvement. Before, I could only stand 30 seconds before it started really hurting, and sometimes now I can stand 6 or 7 minutes, which is huge. Before, I could do nothing, and now I can do some things. And you know what? I decided I'm gonna invest in me. No place is gonna hire me right now because I can't, sit. I still can't sit. Weird thing is your body changes in the way that your body composition is. I guess it changes with all this weight loss, And so before, laying down was like my prime position. That's what made me feel better. And sometimes it still does, but a lot of times after like an hour, I got to get up and walk a little bit. Um, so I don't sleep well at night still. A lot of times I'm tired. And I can't sit for very long at all. Like, it's been 15 minutes and my ass is on fire. So um, I'm ready to stand. But I can stand longer and I can walk longer. And if I do everything that I feel like I need to do, if I need to stand, I stand. If I need to sit, I sit. So my pain levels have dropped if I do everything perfectly right. But no employer is going to let me do that. So that's why I've been piddling around the house and doing my own stuff and building up a tolerance. And I think I'm just going to start a business up coming up soon. I'll share some of that with you guys at a later date. But I'm also going to start enjoying life. I did 5 years of not enjoying life and being miserable and being depressed. And now I have hope. And I'm technically ready for surgery anytime I need it. I'm approved for it. I just have to call the doctor. It'll take about 2 or 3 months. I have to call the neurosurgeon, and it'll take 2 or 3 months, and he'll get me in. But he said, you know what? If you've been miserable for a while, he's like, and you can tolerate things, he's like, enjoy life for a little bit. When I get back surgery, I'll probably be down for like 3 or 4 months in the dumps for a little bit. And now that I'm feeling good, I just want to enjoy life a little bit. So I'll probably end up doing the surgery this year unless I feel like I need it a lot sooner. But yeah, I'm super excited about being able to do things. And, during long drives, like we go to St. Louis sometimes, I still will plan trips or stops at like every 15 minutes. That's okay. You do what you do and you get by. But I have progressed so much, and so what I'm about to show you does make me happy that I got it, but even more importantly, it means that I can use it, and which means I'm feeling better. And that is absolutely, like, 9 months ago, I would have never guessed that I'd be as capable as I am, and it's still at a very low rate of compared to everybody else. But for me, it's like 500% improvement, and even though I'm still not human to everybody else as far as what they're able to do. But let me show you guys the point of this video, and if you're still watching, I appreciate you. I'll try to put a link in there that at about 18 minutes I'll show you what we actually got, and maybe I'll do some shorts so you don't have to watch this whole thing. But if you guys are still watching, thanks for hearing my story, and let's go show you what I got. So first of all, my cousin called me up and he said, I'm gonna go get 2 trailers, and he's like, there's only one of me. He's like, will you follow me up and haul my second trailer home, because he's getting a car hauler and also a dump trailer. And I said, dude, yeah, of course. He's one of my best friends. Obviously we're cousins, so we grew up together. But this kid, I would give him my last dollar. I would help him do anything that he needed, and he's one of the few people that I feel like he would do the same for me. So my cousin Josh, totally awesome guy. But anyways, so we go up there, and he buys this car trailer, but they don't have the dump trailer. So we were coming back with an empty truck, and I thought, man, I should just get a trailer while I'm here, because their pricings were like right on par with used trailers, and they had some really good stuff going on. And I thought, now's my time. So I told him, I said, I think about buying a trailer. And he said, dude, you don't have to. You can use my trailer anytime you want to. You know that. And I absolutely believe that. And because he's loaned me anything I've ever needed ever in my whole entire life. So I very much appreciate him for that. But I said, right now my buddy Joe has a trailer, and anytime I need it, he lets me use it. And we got some big events we want to go to this year, and I hate putting all those miles on his trailer. I literally have his trailer more than he does. So thank you very much to Joe also. But it was time for me to get my own trailer and start trying to build a future, if you will. So he bought a 20-foot trailer, car hauler, dovetail, 18 plus a 2-foot dovetail, and it's 82 inches between the fenders, and it had removable fenders, and that's the trailer that I really wanted, but they only had one, and he had already bought it. And so you know, I told him, I said, man, if they had another one, I'd buy it. And the guy overheard that, and he said, well, I have a 22-foot trailer. He said, it's basically the same trailer. It has rear stabilizing jacks, but it don't have the removable fender wells, where his had the removable fender wells, but it's 2 foot shorter, and didn't have the rear stabilizing jacks. And I said, man, I kind of want the removable fenders, but I do like the extra length. And my cousin said, well, if you ever needed a trailer that had the removable fenders, you know, he said, you can use mine anytime, you know that. And I said, well, if I buy this, you can use my trailer anytime you need the extra length, because he is also contemplating getting a longer trailer. So it kind of just worked out where we can kind of help each other out more in life. So that's just totally rad. So let me show you what I got. So it's a B&R trailer. I think they're kind of like a middle of the road trailer. It's made in Newport, Arkansas. It's a pretty nice trailer. Has a nice jack to it. One of those quick release ones that raise up easy. It has a battery box on it. It has a winch plate on it. It has 8 D-rings going around the trailer. So those are super nice. I went ahead and got a new spare for it, because while you're there type of thing. It has 6,000 pound axles. Like I said, it's 22 foot long. It has non-removable fenders, but that's okay. It has rear stabilizer jacks, and it has the ramps in the rear, so you just pull that pin and they slide out, so you don't really have to do much lifting. You just pull them out, throw them wherever you want, and that's super duper nice. The trailer that I always borrow from my buddies, the ramps are up here, and it's not that far of a trip, but when you have a bad back, it makes a difference. I did contemplate getting the fold down ramps, but that's just extra wind resistance when it's empty. And it was also an extra like $300, and I figured, you know what, I don't really need those. Need to try to keep costs down. But if they did have the removable fenders, I would have totally got them. But like I said, I can borrow my cousin's trailer, and this trailer is actually way longer than I would ever need. But you know, put an S10 on here, maybe some pit bikes or something, maybe a toolbox or something, I don't know. But I'm super happy with this, and it was a good price. I'll tell you guys what I paid for it, just because I know there's going to be somebody curious. So around here, a 16 plus 2 foot dovetail, so an 18-foot trailer, used, was going for like $2,800. That was in okay condition, and for like a nice one was, you know, upwards of $4,000 or $5,000. It was ridiculous. For most new trailers, you know, a lot of them were going for like a 3,500 pound axle. They were going for like, you know, $4,500, $5,000. And this one's 22 foot, so quite a bit longer. It has the 6K axles, so 12,000 total. And it's just, it's a pretty nice trailer. It's pretty well built. And it was $3,700 out the door. So it's a lot of money, yes, but this is going to make it to where we can go to race events and stuff, and I'll feel pretty safe about it. And I don't have to borrow everyone else's trailer, which is huge for me. I don't like putting wear and tear. If it's something I'm hauling around town, yeah, but if you know, I'm making several 100-mile trips, I just don't feel like borrowing other people's stuff. Which brings me to my next point. So I've had this truck for 4 years. When I got it, it did have a little paint, you know, fade, but it had no rust, and it's starting to get some rust on it. I was gonna put rockers on it and you know, fix any other little rust, and because the underside of this truck is like super duper clean. and I was just gonna maybe spray it with some like Raptor liner or something, and just, you know, it's a beater truck, maybe Mako paint job it or something. But now that I got the bigger trailer where I can haul stuff, like I'm thinking maybe I need a different actual work truck. And so I'm really thinking about, I had that 6-liter for this that I was going to put in. It currently has the 4.8. This thing gets great gas mileage for what it is, but if I'm hauling stuff, I'd rather have a 3/4 ton. So thinking about detailing this thing up, making it look nice. It's a good, well-maintained truck, and selling this thing and buying a 3/4 ton 6.0 truck, 4-wheel drive quad cab, something that makes the longer road trips a little bit nicer. And then I think I'm gonna just buy a little cheap budget S10 or Ranger or something along those lines for my pick and pull junkyard truck. One of those should be just fine. So what do you guys think? Get rid of my reliable truck that I love so much, get the 6-liter, and probably have a safer truck for hauling stuff. This one will totally haul this trailer just fine, even with S10s and stuff on it. But you know, a lot of times I'll find Denali's and stuff, or the Denali extended ones, the XLs, and you know, one of those I would not feel comfortable throwing on here and hauling with that. Now the trailer is fine, but the truck would be, yeah, it'd be pushing it. But I really do love this truck. But maybe it's time to clean it up and send it down the road, and get the 2500. I don't know, I have this thing where I want to make everything fast, so I thought, you know, 6.0 of this, truck Norris cam, 4LE, swap it, and you know, it would pull stuff pretty good. But I don't need a fast truck, I need a good tow truck. So 2500 is, I think, the answer. And yeah, so this one will probably go bye-bye, and then I will probably buy a 2500, and then I will probably get me an S10, and you know, that I won't LS swap, I promise. But that will be my pick and pull truck, just a little 4-cylinder 5-speed, maybe a 2.8 first gen S10. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Anyways, thanks for watching. I know this video turned out to be way longer than I thought, but if you made it this far, make sure you subscribe. We got the trailer now. We're going to be doing lots of race events, No Name Nationals. That's a big reason why I bought that trailer, so I'm pretty committed. If you guys have friends that like LS swap content, make sure that you watch the video. And yeah, next step for that guy, we need to get us a winch. I'm thinking a Badlands 12,000 pound one. What do you guys think? Maybe, maybe not.